board meeting to order. We ask that everybody please stand as our Army Junior ROTC program present our colors.
Hold the color.
We ask Mr. Harris to lead us in our prayer and pledge.
We thank you for today. We thank you for living in the country we live in, Lord. And we pray for your guidance for our direction here, but Lord, not only our direction, but guidance for direction for our whole country. Lord, we just lift them up to you. Thank you for everything you've done for us. We ask you to be with us in this meeting and make the right decisions for our schools and for our children. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our mission statement, our mission is to empower all students to reach their highest levels of achievement. Our vision is in partnership with the community. The Wayne County school system will be a progressive system where all students acquire the knowledge and skills to be productive, responsible, and successful citizens in a rapid changing world. And I believe that every child learns with it actively involved in educational experiences that reflect the uniqueness of each student's abilities. Have a motion to adopt the agenda.
Also move.
Second.
Moved and second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
Have a motion to approve the minutes from the October 9th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
Have public participation. Ms. Iris Crummy. Public participation. Okay. So we don't have any public participation. Okay. Resolutions and recognitions.
Yes, sir. At this time, Dr. Reggie Burgess is going to come forward and recognize one of our staff members. This is a new program we've started, but I'll let him tell you a little bit more.
All right, good evening. It's my pleasure to be able to come to you this evening and recognize an employee of the Wayne County School System who was chosen as the October 2018 Good as Gold recipient. And what we did is back in July, I emailed all the principals and actually maintenance and transportation also, and asked them to be thinking about one person they would like to nominate, or two people rather, in most cases, that they would like to nominate as a Good as Gold recipient. This is someone who deserves just a little bit of extra recognition. So this month we have from Wayne County High School, Ms. Tanya Smith. She's a native of Wayne County. She graduated 4th in her class back in 1992 from Wayne County High School with a dual seal. She attended Coastal Community College for 2 years and then completed her Bachelor of Science in Chemistry Education in 1997 from University of Georgia, cum laude. And she completed her Master's in Post-Secondary Education from Troy University, summa cum laude. She was named Wayne County High School Teacher of the Year and Wayne County Teacher of the Year in 2012 and 13. And Ms. Smith holds fast to her love of teaching. She believes in the perseverance of those who put their heart and mind into achieving their goal. She continues to put students first as she serves students during the day at Wayne County High School and at night in the alternative program, as well as students receiving hospital homebound services. She is truly committed to the success of all students. So at this time, we'd like to call her forward. We're going to present her a couple of gifts of appreciation. is a Wayne County Good as Gold t-shirt. Good as gold. And then the hottest item, I'm sorry.
Thank you
And then
so much.
the hottest item at the board office is the little tumbler Good as Gold. Have to keep these locked up. There you go. So let's give her for a hand.
Honor for my community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. All right, next item, I've asked Dr. Burgess just to kind of go over, we've been getting some checks and getting some grants here lately, which is always a good thing, but I wanted him to just explain to the board exactly what we're using these monies for at both middle schools. Dr. Burgess?
All right. Back in July, Dr. Brinson came to me and asked me to apply for a grant called the Rural Education Fund Grant. And it's a new program that is being put on by the Department of Education in conjunction with the Georgia Foundation for Public Education. And it was a $5,000 grant. There were lots and lots of school systems that applied for it. Only 11 received it, and only 2 in Southeast Georgia that received it. The superintendent of the state of Georgia came, Mr. Richard Woods, and presented a check, which I have a large check for $5,000 that was presented at a ceremony we had a few weeks ago at Martha Puckett Middle School. I just want to give you a little bit of an idea what that grant's going to be used for. We came up with a program called Systemics, and the name is chosen, it was intentionally named Systemics because we wanted to emphasize the science, technology, engineering, and math, but we wanted it to be systemic between the 2 middle schools. This was a grant that actually was applied for on behalf of Martha Puckett Middle School, but what made that possible was the year before, Arthur Williams Middle School received a $5,000 grant from Rayonier, from the Rayonier Grant Foundation, from the Rayonier Foundation. So we were able to do the exact same thing at 2 middle schools to make sure it was equitable, so it worked out really great. So if you could go to that next slide for us, please. We wanted it to be, Systemics is the title of the program.
Sorry. Yeah.
All right, you see there the Georgia Foundation for Public Education, Ms. Paige Pushkin is the executive director. She and Mr. Richard Woods came and a few weeks ago to Martha Puckett Middle School and presented us with this check, and we were glad to have them with us. And I mentioned before, the Rayonier Advanced Materials also made this possible. The program is actually designed to have, you can go to that next slide for me, please. It's actually designed to introduce middle school students to the science, technology, engineering, and math activities that they can use to right here in our local industries and businesses. When I went through Leadership Wayne last year, one of the things that our cohort identified as a problem that we have is that so many of our best and brightest students are going off to college or getting when they come back, or rather than come back from college, they're going off to other places to start their careers. And many of them that we talked to were just simply not aware of the great opportunities for employment right here in Wayne County, the great jobs that we have. So the project, or the focus of the project, was to foster a love of the STEM industries and businesses, but also to expose them to the careers that we have here in Wayne County. Lots and lots of great things to do that kids don't have to go off and work in Atlanta or Savannah or Augusta or those kind of places. They can get qualified. They can go to Coastal, or they can come right out of high school. They can go to college. They can come back and just get great jobs right here. And that's just going to help our community even more. We have a tremendously diverse workforce here, lots and lots of industries that I'm sure some of you may not even be aware. That was one of the things that really opened my eyes when I went through Leadership Wayne last year, was we got to go to some places like EAM and Rayonier. I'd never been to Rayonier before last year, so I've gotten to go there several times and see the types of jobs they have. We have Yellowwood and EAM, lots of places like that are interesting places to work that kids aren't even aware that they're here. So many of our best and brightest students are leaving. We're trying to keep them right here to come back in our county. So again, the mission has three purposes: is to expose them to the careers that are available. The way we're going to work this program out is they're going to have a STEM activity, a STEM club, not really a club, but just an after-school meeting of the students who are in these STEM programs. We're going to have as many as 60 kids, 30 at each school. Each grading period, they go through their technology class, and the technology teachers, Mr. Roger Fillmore and Ms. Michelle Pegler, are going to head this up for us at the 2 schools. And as they have their students, they're going to work with them after school on STEM activities, and then they're also going to take as many as 3 field trips each grading period. to some of these places, like I mentioned, Rainier and EAM and Yellowwood and such, and other places as well. But we're going to try to get the kids out into the community, let them see the jobs, let them meet the people that have those kinds of jobs, and just talk to them and see what's out there, see what's available for them. And then thirdly, I jumped ahead. Thirdly is to just train students in applying critical thinking. That's one thing that no matter what content area is taught, kids have to be able to think critically and be creative, be problem solvers. So that's one of the things that we really want to focus on in our after-school STEM activity. And then we have 2 goals. I mentioned we have 60 students. That'll be 30 from each of the 2 middle schools. We'll be going out, we'll be participating in the project. And then SMART goal number 2 is to take the students out. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Is to get the kids out into the community by visiting several places and just let them get out and see what's going on. Let them ask questions. Just the interaction that we want them to have with the public will be invaluable. And I believe that's it. Any questions or anything I can expound upon? I talk fast.
Is this like all the kids or just certain classes?
It's going to be done through the technology classes of the 2 middle schools, and so there are about 30 or so kids each grading period that go through that class. So as many as 120 kids in each school over the course of the year. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Burgess.
Yes, sir.
And I hate that Ms. Alrardi couldn't be with us tonight. She had a health issue that had to be dealt with today, and hopefully she's going to be back to work tomorrow, but she could not be with us this evening, so I'm going to try to pinch hit forward. But I just wanted to make the board aware that Odom Elementary was one of the top 5% Title I schools in the state of Georgia, and because of that, they are being asked to, and they're going to apply, but they've been asked to apply because it's only the top 5% of Title I schools in the state of Georgia to apply for national recognition. And what it is they pick only 2 schools from the whole state of Georgia to represent Georgia at a national conference. Title I, just remind you about the Title I program. It's a federal program that's targeted for low-income families. We actually qualify for a system-wide Title I support because all of our schools are above that 40% low-income threshold. So that's additional monies that come with a lot of red tape and a lot of strings attached on how we have to spend them. But it is, the intent is to put more money toward these low-income families that need more support, while they're students at school. Just to let you know some of the criteria for this, also on top of the CCRPI scores that are coming out soon for last year, this was based off their 2017 CCRPI score, as well as certain special populations of students. When I say special populations, I mean homeless, migrant, and English learners are the 3 categories, and there's some other ones that we included as well. But high percentages for their makeup at the school, as well as academic achievement on our accountability measures, the CCRPI. So again, they go through our application process that's coming up. It's due November 2nd. If they're selected as one of the schools by the National Association, they will also be invited to attend a conference out in Kansas City, Missouri, and receive a $20,000 monetary award that they'll be asked to use for that, get their folks out to the conference, as well as go back and use it for identified Title I expenses. Again, that's a federal program, but that's a tremendous opportunity for Odom Elementary, and that comes from hard work from the teachers, students, support from the parents, as well as good leadership out of Ms. Alrardi. So just a tremendous honor for Odom Elementary, and we'll keep you posted on that. Any questions about Title I or that award? But it's tremendous. I don't recall us, Ms. Denny, do you ever recall us since we've been system-wide? There was a time, again, you have to meet that criteria. There was a time we were on a targeted system, but all our schools identified now as Title I schools. Okay. All right, and the real show, we want to recognize our junior ROTC program. You want to come forward at this time? They've been busy. As you see, we asked them to present the colors to us today. They've hit the ground running with our with our students. Had an awesome promotion ceremony the other day. I understand I'm so upset I couldn't make it, but I was out of town. Dr. McDaniel sent me a text and was just blown away at how that went. But tell us how it's going.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chief Marcus, and this fine looking fellow on my right, he's First Sergeant Short. And these are nice looking ladies and gentlemen, young ladies and gentlemen. They are part of the JROTC program here at Wayne County High School. We're here to give a short overview of the program so far since we've been back in action, so to speak. In the JROTC Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps is a citizenship and leadership program. The purpose of the program is to motivate young people to be better citizens. And our ultimate goal, First Sergeant and I, our ultimate goal is to make sure that these young people are college ready and career ready when they leave high school. Okay, JROTC focuses on 5 fundamentals, developmental areas, and that's citizenship, leadership, academics, physical fitness, and social ability. Our curriculum, leadership, education, training, the LET levels. The program has LET levels. Right now we only have 2 LET levels, the LET 1s and the LET 2s. We will be up to LET 4, and hopefully next year we'll roll into the LET 4s. And our program is to be ran by the cadets. You know, it is a cadet-led program. Currently, these are our leaders and our Raider team. These are the guys that were responsible for these trophies that you see up here. And you know what though? I can't go any further. I have to say this. So can y'all excuse me for a minute? There's a guy in the audience that, and I'm gonna try to struggle through this. I get through it. There's a guy in the audience right now that's responsible for who I am. You know, the discipline that was instilled in me, the hard knock lessons, and all this stuff that goes along with shaping a person and sending them on their way. And this guy right here, Coach McPipkin. Coach McPipkin, his brother, and the other coaching staff that coached me when I was in high school, they had a lot to do with who I am today. And I just have to thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yep. All right, I'll be followed by First Sergeant.
All right, as Chief said, this is a student-led program, and these are our student leaders. We have our 3 company commanders right here. So the JROTC program mimics the military environment. The military is broken down into different, pretty much levels of leadership. You have a brigade, a battalion, a company. So we have a battalion, it's called the Jackets Battalion. And in the battalion, there's 3 companies. Each company has a commander. And these right here are 3 company commanders. We're gonna let them speak on the program so far.
How's everyone doing today?
Good.
So as First Sergeant said, we are the company commanders of our JROTC program. I'm Cadet Captain Ogden, it's Cadet Captain Wynn, and Cadet Captain Malone. We're here today to talk about how our program has come along so far and what we love about it. So we started out really, let's just say we didn't start out very strong. We had one person, Colonel Perry, who taught us. We didn't have our books until later on in the year. And honestly, it was a learning curve for everybody. We had to step up to come this far, and I just want to thank everybody that has supported us so far. Honestly, we've come a long way.
Good.
All right. I'm Cadet Captain Wynn. As Chief Marcus said earlier, the program promotes leadership and helps cadets encourages cadets to become better citizens. What I like about the program is that It teaches us followership, leadership, and qualities that helps us become more better problem solvers, leaders, followers. It helps us build confidence, character, and helps us build a sense of pride for serving the community and just representing Wayne County as a whole.
As Cadet Captain Ogden already presented me, I'm Cadet Captain Malone, the company commander of Alpha Company. As he said, we only had one instructor, which is our senior honor instructor, Colonel Perry, and then we had First Sergeant step up to a very big job and came and pretty much shaped the program the rest of the way because Colonel Perry had to leave. Then after Colonel Perry left, we had Chief Marcus, who stepped up and shaped. He did a very big part in the Let 2s because he's a senior Army instructor. Without the help of our community, that's played a big part in pretty much the stuff we had. The parents helped out with pretty much the Raider team with our drinks and stuff, and they cheered us on as we went on to our Raider competitions. As well as if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't have half the stuff. And, the program as itself helps us build character in what we have. Like every Wednesday we wear this uniform. If you don't have the uniform, it's going to cost you great. It helps you develop responsibility and characterization. Thank you.
All right. A round of applause for our student leaders. Don't mean to take so much time, but we're talking. I know they refer to Raider team a lot. The Raider team is a team of individuals, and they're in this uniform right here, and they go to different high schools competing against other JROTCs and physical challenges like they do what they call a rope bridge, where they're tying a bridge from tree to tree and climbing as a team across that rope bridge, doing a team run, doing medical assessments. I mean, it's a lot going on with the Raider team. They came at the beginning of the year. A lot of people said, with your program just starting, you probably shouldn't do a Raider team. But we went and competed at different high schools, and we came home with some gold at the Area 1 meet. So I'm going to go ahead and take a couple seconds, if it's okay, let the Raider team address the audience.
Yes. How's everyone doing today?
Great.
All right. I'm the team captain of the mixed team JROTC Raider team. It was a great experience to be in the Raider team because a lot of young cadets don't have the experience to experience all of the things that we do in the Raider team. I usually can't run a mile. I never run a mile in my life. But then in the Raider practice, we have to run like 3 miles. So it's an experience. It's a big experience, and it's a lot of things you have to overcome. Mentally, physically, and it's a lot of discipline to in charge of a team, and because back in my country, we don't have this program. We don't even have JROTC, so I mean, this is all new to me. For me to be up here is a great honor. With our teamwork and with our communication, we managed to get these for the Wayne County High School. So I mean, I'm so proud of everyone individually. So yeah.
I'm First Lieutenant Wilson, and the Raider team taught me how to follow and also lead and help push my teammates to become a better team as a whole. And JROTC helped me learn the creed and live by the creed, and also help the ones that are in my class that I have the privilege to push and help them become better Let 2s next year when they reach that level. And it helped me become a better leader so that I can help everybody else and push them to the level that I am at. And I want to just say thank you for everyone that made this possible to have this program.
Caveat on what Cadet Malone said. When we started the Raider team, the the parents of the Raiders, they showed tremendous support. Our first Raider meet, we went to Vidalia, and the parents saw what kind of the more established Raider teams had, and they came on board. And the next Raider meet we went to, we had all this stuff. We had tents, we had coolers, chairs, all this different stuff. So thank you parents for supporting the program. Again, the program started off rough. We're a little bit behind because we don't have Let Force, so we don't have that level of leadership yet. But like Chief Marcus said, when we begin to have our Let Fours, the Let Fours are the main ones that run our staffs and train our more junior cadets. But though we are a little bit behind, the program is gaining traction because, I mean, at the beginning of the school, at the end of last school year, we didn't have uniforms. We didn't have a battalion command structure, but now we're moving forward, we have all those things. Pending your questions.
I have a question. Do you have everything you need to be successful? Equipment, anything?
We're getting, there's the main thing we need that, well, Dr. McDaniel, he did want us to present all of our needs to him first before presenting them to the board. But the one thing that we need is facilities. If you look, Bradwell Institute and Liberty High School, they have these great JROTC facilities that have indoor marching facilities, indoor PT facilities, weapon ranges, and things like that. So I understand that our program just started and we're moving forward, the facility is probably the most important thing we need to make our program grow.
Am I correct, that's one of the things that East Plus will help us get?
Absolutely.
Any further questions?
Excellent job. I appreciate you.
I have some comments, Sergeant. Go ahead.
I was there the other day at your ceremony. I'm telling you, I was extremely impressed. After teaching school for 30 years and understanding control of classroom and that sort of thing, I was impressed when the first cadet stood up to address his platoon or whatever the military term is. It was really kind of comical that when he spoke the first time, half the audience stood up. He got their attention, not only his platoon's attention, but when he said stand up, they stood up too. So I was impressed at how well disciplined they were.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Chief Marcus, how many students do we have involved now, total?
Currently, right now, we have 83 students. We started out with 90 kids this year. We have the capacity to endure 150 kids with 2 instructors. So we have room for growing.
That's great. First of all, I want to thank you two guys for assuming the leadership roles.
Yes.
I think we're in good hands on that aspect. As a board member, you know, a lot of times we're subject to criticism and second guessing, but to me, the establishment of our junior ROTC program was one of the greatest things that we have accomplished as a board, and it will pay dividends in, like you say, better citizenship, better students, better role models for our other kids. And I just want to thank all the cadets and the leadership staff, and we're so proud of all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very
We're gonna
proud.
get a picture?
Yeah, can we get a picture?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm proud of you all as well. Very, very proud. I can go over to Bradwell and brag on you all. Yeah.
Y'all come in the middle.
Yeah, come in here and get your trophies up, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Hardware, that's
Show some of that
right.
hardware.
I got it.
Don't be bashful, y'all, come on. Now, hey, listen, y'all got this.
Come around. Let's go.
Y'all got this. There you go.
Can you get them all?
Okay, I think they're growing in just a little bit. That's all I'm trying to do. It was close. That's perfect.
Okay, here we go. Got one more just to be on the safe side. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank y'all.
All right, this time I'm asking Ms. Williams to come forward. We had a great chamber event that they put on last week, and we were able just to kind of speak to the group that was there in the middle of the day, and I just want to kind of go through that presentation again because I know you board members were busy, and make sure everybody's hearing the same thing as we go through it. So me and her kind of tag team this, but I'll let her begin.
This event was Barbecue in Dallas. It was at the college here in Jessup, and it was just an informational session that we gave to the public. Can everyone hear me okay?
I don't think it's on. It's not on.
I'm not real sure what's going on.
Is that mic on? You see? There you go.
It's on now. It's working. You have to turn it on to get it to work. That usually works.
Go ahead.
So the first thing that we spoke about was the former eSPLOST projects and the cost of each project, the amount of money that we spent. We want to make sure that the public is aware of where the funds have gone. And as you see there, I'm not going to read all of the numbers to you. This presentation is on our website for people to view. So I'm not going to go over all of the numbers, but you see we've built 4 new elementary schools with the prior eSPLOST projects, in addition to the new high school that was built many years ago now. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it has been. So textbooks and technology, new elementary schools, updates to the middle schools, and some renovations to some elementary schools. The proposed eSPLOST projects, again, this information is on our website along with the actual referendum that you'll see when you go vote. But we do have some completion costs for the Martha Ross Smith project. Even though they're already in that school, we still have $4 million. James D. Bacon modernization, we're going to put $7 million of sales tax funds into that project, and we will receive $4 million from the state. James E. Bacon will remain in the same location, but it will look like a brand new school. It will have, when you walk in, you probably won't recognize it once we finish the project. The entry to the building will be off of Orange. The building will face the tech center here, so they won't face Orange Street anymore. It's going to be just like a brand new facility. Our bus fleet is very old. We have about 65, 66 buses, and they're very old. We have lots of dirt roads in Wayne County, and that puts a lot of wear and tear on our school buses. So we have $2 million earmarked for new buses. We do have $1.5 million earmarked for a new track. We have some athletic facility updates that need to be done, some paving, some parking lots, and then technology updates of $1 million. We expect the sales tax to generate about $17 million over a 5-year period. The way that we fund these projects up front is that we sell bonds. Once the eSPLOST is passed, we have the ability to go ahead and sell bonds so that we can go ahead and start the projects instead of having to let that sales tax money build up and accumulate. So for the current eSPLOST that we have, we sold $14.7 million worth of bonds back in 2015. And we use sales tax money to pay back those bonds. So the bond money paid for the projects up front, and then we let the sales tax money accumulate to pay back the bonds. We currently owe $3.6 million. That's due next September 2019. And we already have a little over $1.5 million in the bank saved up to make that payment. One of the things that we have done to try to balance our budget over the last several years. Several years ago, we cut art and music from all of the elementary schools. We recently added back art teachers this year, but we did cut art and music from all of the elementary schools. And we furloughed our employees 37 days over a period of 5 years. And we spoke at the college about those families that had the husband and the wife that were both employees of the school system, what an impact that had on those families with, both spouses being cut. Those furlough days cut about $7 million out of our budget over a 5-year period. And 8 out of 15 years, our employees did not receive a raise. And you've heard us over the years, if you've been listening to all the budget talks, the state over the past several years has cut us $31 million in the past 16 years. That has made a huge impact on our budget. We've had to make lots of hard decisions to make our budget balance. And this is how we spend our money. This is our general fund, which is, we use our ad valorem tax to help fund our general fund, but we spend 87% of our budget on people, on employees, salaries and benefits. And 68% of every dollar goes into the classroom. And you have those other numbers there. I'm not going to go through every one of them. Millage rate. That's a big topic in Wayne County. Lots of discussions have been had about the millage rate. But for the past 13 years, the school system has only had one millage rate increase. And we have really balanced our budget on the expenditure side instead of the revenue side. When you're having a budget crisis, your options are to increase your revenues or decrease your expenditures. That's all you can do. And we've chosen to decrease our expenditures. 1 year, we raised our millage rate in the past 13 years. And for the past 5 years, we've maintained the same millage rate. One of the questions that has come up in some of the talks that we've had with community groups is that if the eSPLOST does not pass, what does that do to our revenue? We are currently at 18 meals for the tax rate, and we can go to 20. But if we raise those 2 meals, it would take 12 and a half years to generate what the 5-year eSPLOST would generate.
Yes. And everybody pays for that. Everybody that comes in out of town.
Right. The eSPLOST is generated by not just people that live in Wayne County. It's generated by everyone that passes through Wayne County. So people traveling through, people here visiting family, they all pay the eSPLOST. It's okay. And Dr. Britson has some information on what our funds have done for us.
And that's the main point I tried to make the other day is that, I can argue an upward trend in a lot of different areas. One of them being graduation rate. That's our rates over the last, 15 years. And even though the calculations have changed maybe halfway through there, the calculation we have now is a true cohort formula that's, a lot more stringent than maybe it used to be. You could argue, but this last graduation rate was the first time that we've been over 90% graduation rate, and only 74 high schools in the state of Georgia had a 90% or higher graduation rate, and there's a lot of things that go into graduation rate, not just the work at the high school, though they, I call them the finishing room. They certainly make sure when they finish the drill and get them across the Donaldson Magic Field and a diploma in their hand. But it really does start in pre-K and really before that. It really starts, with some of our programs, some of our child find programs, some of the things that we do to try to, prepare our students before they enter the kindergarten classroom. The other slide I just wanted to point out too, to show our growth in our CCRPI score. The next, last year's, this year's score with last year's test score data is coming out. And there's a lot of things that go into this accountability measure. But I can show you, if you look at, I don't know if you can see it real well, but back in 2012 at 63.7, that's a ranking out there next to us, and that is our RESA rankings. That's really, for lack of a better word, we've kind of compared ourselves to our adjoining counties around us, and there's 18 of them there. You can see in 2012 we were ranked 17th out of out of 18, and same thing 2013, and we've made some strides there. You can see, you know, moving up to number 11, number 6, number 5, number 7. So we're climbing our way into that upper echelon there, and there's a direct correlation. I'll just point this out, and you look at it, take a little time to decipher it, but there's a direct correlation between the amount of funds that are able to be put into the school system to how they do. And my examples are going to be, you look at Camden County, Effingham County, Bryan County, and Glenn County. Those four have typically, especially Effingham and Camden, they've kind of been that gold standard of what we're trying to shoot for. But they also have, you know, I'll point out they have some federal impact funds that they get. That's other money. I can argue with it that Glenn County's digest looks a little bit different than Wayne County's digest does. You know, they have a tremendous boost in the internet contribution, as well as the tourism that they have there. That's contributes to them being able to do some things. And I'll give you another example. You know, this time we got a couple of students. I'm gonna kind of end on this. I get Miss Amari Franklin and Haley Driggers come forward. We want to recognize you guys. I'm gonna give y'all a chance to speak if you want to. But these are two of our best and brightest that we want to recognize here tonight. And it's all about providing opportunities. That's something I feel real strongly about. You just saw our ROTC program. That's something we added back. We jumped into deep water with that one last fall, and the reason why we didn't have uniforms and some things that generally you get is because we got the call. You have to apply for that program, and we got the call. Y'all can have it in January if you can get it together. So we said yes, and so we did a lot of scrambling to make it happen. But that provided a lot of opportunities for students that we have not had here in a while. But this is opportunity they had over the summer. Miss Amara Franklin, ladies, y'all gonna have to help me out. Let's see if I can read this here. Well, I'll start with Haley Driggers. Both of these students were selected to represent not only Wayne County High School, but also the state of Georgia this summer at the National Leadership Academy. Both young ladies had the opportunity to study under many Nobel Prize winners while attending the academy. The theme of the summer was Greatness Awaits, and these two young ladies have a great future ahead, and Wayne County High School and Wayne County School System are very proud of you young ladies. The microphone's yours if you want to tell us. Step up and tell us a little bit about what you enjoyed.
Okay, hi, my name is Amari Franklin. This summer, I was invited to attend the National Congress of...
Tap it, Mr. Daniel.
It's on.
Is it okay?
Hey y'all, my name is Amari Franklin. This summer I had the chance to go to Boston, Massachusetts and attend the National Congress of Future Medical Leaders, where I got the chance to meet many Nobel Peace Prize winners, and they were able to share with me their experiences as successful people in the medical field, and it inspired me to pursue my passion as a clinical biochemist and hopefully work for the WHO organization or for the CDC.
Hello everybody, my name is Haley and I was able to go to a similar program that's also in Boston. It's run by the same people, but it is the Science and Technologists Congress. I got to do similar things that Amari got to do. I got to listen to many Nobel Peace Prize winners not only talk about their successes, but also your failures. Now, you're probably thinking, why in the heck would you tell about your failures when they're very successful people? Well, they didn't get there just one day they woke up and be like, okay, well, let me try this, and then bam, it happened. No, it also came with a failure, and it was very inspiring to me because I'm a person who is very scared to fail at what I do. Like, I always think, okay, well, it has to go this way, it can't go any other way, it has to be perfect. Well, life comes and reality checks, and it was very nice to hear them talk about how long of a way they have come and how successful they were able to make in the world of science and technology. I was very honored to go and represent Wayne County High School in the state of Georgia. I was very excited I got to go, and one thing that stood out to me the most when we went is the man who did it. His name is Richard Rossi. He is the director over everything. And one thing that he said was the squeaky wheel always gets the grease, which means the students in the classroom who need the most help. Hello? Anyway, the students who need the most help normally do get the help, but what about the students who do the best in the classroom and succeed and stay up all night studying for those tests that you have to take every night? So this program was a way for the students who always do good in the classroom to get recognized and to get recognition and be like, hey, we know what you're doing. And it was a way it opened up my eyes, honestly, to show that you never know who's watching, so you always got to try to do your best. And I just have to thank the whole community, my family, my friends, my teachers who have taught me in the past, and my teachers now, Miss Smith being one of them. And I just have to thank all for the support that got me here, that pushed me and motivated me to get a good grade to where I was invited. And not only did I get invited this past year to go, but I got re-invited to come back to the medical leaders one, the one that Amari went to. So I'm very excited to go back again this summer and represent Wayne County High School.
Yeah. I want y'all to make me look good. Come on, let's get in here. Put it on my Facebook page or Instagram or something. Get you in the middle. Congratulations. Let's give them one more round of applause. All right, last thing I have on the agenda, I just wanted to mention to the board, get your input about our, you recall back, we did our governor's team self-assessment. I put that annual training in kind of in stone now for that February 11th. I got that late today, but I'll send that out to everyone about our training that we have. But we need to move forward, and what I need to know tonight, we need to move forward with kind of set some goals on how we're going to address these areas that we identified as needs improvement or didn't meet as we continue through the rest of this year. Or we can go back, it's been a while, we certainly had some changes on the board, got some more changes coming. We can do another assessment to kind of guide us. I just need to know what's your pleasure on the self-assessment. Does everyone remember what Mr. Harris may not be up to speed, and I'll certainly send you this. But we kind of assessed ourselves in all the different areas. Do you want to stay with the current assessment we did, or do a new one? As far as governance structure, strategic plan, and all the different standards that the Georgia School Boards Association has for us. I just need to know if we're going to move forward with this assessment, or are we going to have a new one, and we'll kind of work between the meetings. I'll remind you, November and December we only have that one meeting, so we'll have a little time to do some work. But what's your pleasure?
I think we need to stay with this assessment and evaluate those areas and make the necessary adjustments.
Okay. Everybody else good with that? Good with that. All right. And what I'll do is I'll send this out. Me and Mr. Harris and Mr. Pipkin, I'm gonna attend their training coming up. Really, it's just a couple of weeks in Macon or Perry, wherever they've moved us. And so I'll send this information to you gentlemen where you can review it, and then we'll have some time in between our sessions to kind of look over where I can get you up to speed. And in the meantime, I'll kind of condense it down to the areas we've identified where we can start trying to operationalize a plan. Okay? That's all I have.
We move into executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer, or to interview applicants for the position of superintendent, and also to discuss the superintendent's evaluation. Do we have a motion for executive session?
So moved. Second.
Moved and second. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to turn back to regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ellis?
Moved and second.
Okay. Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Daniel.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton.
Yes, ma'am.
Personnel recommendations for October 23rd, 2018. Certified transfer Jessica Chambers, Wayne County High School to Martha Ross Smith. Certified resignations Kevin Holland, Arthur Williams Middle School. Classified recommendations Nancy Hutchison, Martha Puckett, Cassandra Merritt, Wayne County High School. Tony Reddish, Jessup Elementary. Carla Roberts, Transportation. Classified resignations Randy R. Transportation, Paula Bennett, Jessup Elementary. Motion to approve superintendent's recommendations as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second.
Mr. Ellis.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Ms. Daniel.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sutton?
I'm just very proud of the ROTC. I was very impressed with it tonight. There's just us here to hear about it, but I am tickled to death with that. We need to make sure that with that many kids, who would have ever thought we'd have had that many kids this soon?
Yeah.
In that, and we need to support it fully, anything, whatever they need.
Yes, sir.
I'm just excited, to see the numbers that we'll have once we actually get a, range and those type of things going with that program, because, being that this is a, town that likes to hunt, I think once you get that rifle range going and, you know, everything, it will, enhance that. And I also would like to apologize to everyone for my tardiness. I kind of miscalculated getting off post. They're redoing the Bradwell Gym. We don't have a roof. There's no gym. So we have to, you know, practice over on post, and kind of miscalculated that timing. I think the people at Parker's was wondering what was going on when I came in with boots and some sweatpants to change clothes.
I would like to say how much I was impressed with the ROTC program as well. I was here when we had it before, and just to be quite honest, I believe it's off to a better start than actually what we had years ago.
Was it that big when I was in school? Was there 80?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was about there?
Yeah,
About that,
the
yeah.
Air Force would, have a minimum of 100, you had to have a minimum of
Okay.
100 students.
I wasn't
But,
sure.
but one thing I did notice, when I walked outside after it, the kids, are proud of themselves.
Awesome.
So,
That's what it's about.
That's right.
yeah.
It's good. 4-H sent us a thank you letter, just thanking us for the partnership and allowing them to serve in our 5th and 6th grade classrooms. And they'll be having 4-H week is already happening on October the 7th to the 13th. And they just want to again thank us for allowing the partnership to exist and allowing them to come into our school system. So that's all I have.
I appreciate Mr. Ellis attending our audit exit interview today with the auditor. He got a good report. But we'll have that on the next meeting, hopefully, just to share those results. But very proud of that work of
It's the best one I had in 4 years.
very proud of working with Ms. Williams, of course, but she grinds those administrators pretty hard. That's it.
We won't have that report before election day, will we?
No, it won't be until after, but it was a good report. So you can tell people we had a good audit report.
But I do have a question, before we adjourn. CCRPI scores should be coming out pretty soon, shouldn't they, for 2018 would be?
Mm-hmm. They're maybe next week. I lost track of the date. I think it's next week.
Okay.
That should be out.
Adjourned by acclamation.
Yes, Mr. Ray, I left out an audit meeting in good spirits today.
Right.